This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to the boys.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat. What's up? True Heel Heat. All hands is
Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is True Heel Heat. And I said it right, you motherfuckers.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat Facebook, Twitter, and of course the YouTube channel for NXT Deadline 2023 preview. Here to break down this Saturday show from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I am joined by a very special guest for this pay-per-view preview. She is a podcaster extraordinaire, an interviewer. She does reviews and breakdowns on her own channel, but you can also see her breaking down WWE NXT every single Tuesday night, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, over on Body Slam Net YouTube channel. She is Kat. What's going on?
Hey. And it's been a hectic week, honestly, but I am happy to be here. Excited for NXT Deadline. All good stuff.
Yes, Deadline this Saturday. How excited are you for Deadline this Saturday? I know you're an NXT fan, so how have they got you geared up for this Saturday show?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm interested to see who we're gonna get out of the Iron Survivor matches. You know, it's been an interesting couple of weeks with that one. I love, as I said on the show last night, Ilja Dragunov is my guy, and so I'm confident he will leave as NXT champion. So good. I can't wait to see what we're getting as far as who wins and then the stories going forward from that.
Yeah, I'm very interested on what's gonna be coming up on like what's to come with NXT more than like this show in particular. So I don't know where my buzz level is at. If I had to do like 0 to 10, it'd probably be like a 6. Because I know that the Iron Survivor matches are gonna deliver. I know that the kind of the lower card matches will be pretty decent to good, but I'm not that excited for the show. But we are here to get you excited for this Saturday's show and talk all about it. So, of course, thank you all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all joining us. If you're joining us live, if you're watching us on demand, remember to show your appreciation back by dropping the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, most importantly, we love to interact with all of you in the live chat. So sound off, give us your predictions for WWE NXT Deadline this Saturday, Bridgeport, Connecticut, live on Peacock WWE Network, regardless of where you're watching it from. So interact with us. Let us know in the live chat what you think about this Saturday's card, who you think is going to win the matches. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you can give back to what we do here with a super chat donation. That is also important to what we do here. We're a self-funded channel, so every little bit gives back and supports us. And as our good friend Jimmy Macaram has said on Thursdays on AE Ramble, aka that means we broke. So send some money because we got kids. All right. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right, we got already in the live chat with us, Frantic World, who says, "What's up, SP3, Katrina, and chat? I hope Wes Lee is gets better soon. So yeah, I put it in the headline for this video. So let's kind of get it out the way, and then we can segue into the matches on this card. But the big news from last night's WWE NXT was Wes Lee, who was the #1 contender for the NXT North American Championship, has suffered a back injury that will keep him out due to surgery for 8 to 12 months, and he will not be challenging Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship. I mean, how shocking was this for you? Like, at first, I thought it was an angle. When I saw him with the crutch in the back, Katrina, I was like, oh, okay, this is an angle for him to like fake and get Dominic to say he's not going to have Judgment Day in his corner. And then when he says that, he hits him with the crutch and we get our match on. But no, he legit had legit tears. Even when he had the legit tears, I was like, all right, he's a really good actor. He's a really good actor. This can't be real. But no, this was legit and real. What was your reaction?
It's so unfortunate. I'm a big Wes Lee fan. I think he definitely, when he had the North American title, he really, like, every week he was basically, like, defending it, and I appreciate that so much. At first, I did think it was, like, when he first came out, but I'm like, I don't know. He seems, like, really sad about this, and so to be out for 8 to 12 months, which is essentially a year, and to think of having to get yourself back into wrestling shape and then also get yourself to heal. I mean, I just have scoliosis, and that's not even, a back surgery type of injury. And so to kind of have that and be out essentially a year is super unfortunate. And I do hope he heal. I was actually really looking forward to him with Dominic, just because the match he had last week, where he went against Johnny Gargano and Cameron Grimes, and that was a really fantastic match. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought all of them gave something and made me appreciate what I liked about them in NXT, the ones who came back down for this. And so to have all of that and prevail to only the very next week have to kind of remove yourself is truly unfortunate. But I do wish him well, and I hope, surgery goes well and he's able to heal and hopefully be back to normal afterwards.
Yeah, I'm wondering, was it like an injury he suffered in the match? Was he like kind of, maybe that's why he took like the month off when they did the whole angle where he like went home? Maybe he was trying to rest and get through it, and when he came back, he still couldn't get through it. But I agree with you. I loved that match last week. I thought that was that I gave that my match of the week on True Hill Heat this week, because I was like, I loved what Wes Lee, Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, and Johnny Gargano delivered. So to have that great match, and you think Wes Lee's going to go on and beat Dom, and then we get this news, it was definitely a gut punch for sure. We got in the chat with us here. We got Chase, who says, gotta hit up Orton. I hope he doesn't have to change too much of his style coming back. And that's the thing, like with his style, I think that he is gonna have to kind of change it up just a little bit because of just the strain on his back and the different moves, the shooting stars, the flips. Those are all the stuff that is going to deal with your back. So do you think that we're going to see a different type of Wes Lee in the ring when he returns?
I would say he probably should. I love his style of wrestling, but unfortunately, as we've seen with a lot of wrestlers who kind of wrestle in that type of high-flying, fast-paced style, if they get injured, they do have to tweak it. I do think Randy's the perfect person. I know people complained about him being more boring, but he's still wrestling. So, and while yes, he was also out for 18 months, but he's also a little bit older. Now I feel like sometimes if you want to have a little bit longer of a career in wrestling, because unfortunately wrestling, even with people coming back when they probably shouldn't be coming back, but even with that, it's like with any type of sports thing, a lot of times it's a very short window, unfortunately. And so I feel like if he wants more longevity to hopefully keep going and winning titles, he probably needs to tweak it a bit. I don't know if it's completely change it, but he definitely needs to probably slow down his pace a bit, maybe get more grounding type moves in his arsenal, just to kind of extend how long he can continue to wrestle.
Yeah, and we all want to see him wrestle again. So I think that's why we kind of, maybe that's the idea that we all have in our head, that he kind of has to kind of switch up his style just a little bit to kind of have more years, because he's so young. He's still so young, and it's crazy the career, the the stint that he's had on NXT already with the North American Championship run, with his run with MSK. He's already been so accomplished in NXT, and he's kind of, I would say he's kind of in like the MVP. I think it's him, Mello, Ilya are kind of like the MVPs of 2023 for NXT.
Yeah, I agree there, definitely.
But that is a perfect transition and segue to the first match we need to discuss, because Dominic Mysterio will still be defending the North American Championship at NXT Deadline. But the name on the contract, it says Lee, but it doesn't say Wesley. It says Dragon Lee, as he will challenge Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship this Saturday. This rivalry that started when Dragon Lee was on NXT, trying to fight Dominic during his first reign as NXT North American Champion and his second reign as NXT North American Champion. And now Dragon Lee, who's now a SmackDown star, will return to NXT to try to claim the title that he wasn't able to get from Dominic before. And this time, once again, he'll have Rey Mysterio in his corner, which he was in his corner a couple of months back on NXT against Dom. Do you think that this is the time that WWE is going to give Dragon Lee the big title win we've been searching for?
I mean, it's possible. I felt like I kind of said this a little bit yesterday. I'm a little iffy on it only because he wasn't doing anything in NXT, and while I know Dominic has been bouncing, back and forth between the main roster and NXT and kind of been really involved in 2023 in regards to wrestling, it's like, you think of all the other people who wanted the title at NXT, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about, like, you kind of just get put in a match when you haven't really been, doing anything. But then it's like, also, I feel like Dominic as a title holder right now is extra annoying. I feel like he's being more grating than normal. And I like Dominic Mysterio, but he's like so extra. And I feel like the title's made it worse. I feel like he's really honed being the champion and just being annoying, probably more than any of the members of Judgment Day, even if Shay will say it's Damian Priest. I feel like it's definitely something that he's use this to his advantage as far as being more of an annoying heel. And so I don't necessarily know if they would like give that up that easily. So I feel like I'm kind of iffy on it because I feel like, yeah, Dragon Lee definitely could have had it before and it didn't really work out. But then it's like you really haven't done anything to get put right in the title match. Thinking of all the other people at NXT who kind of wanted a chance of getting the North American title. So I feel like really split on, I wouldn't mind it, but I also can see if they want to keep pushing this thing with Dominic. I can see both. So I really am not sure, honestly. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle on it.
So with that in mind, who would you have put on the NXT roster in this spot instead of Dragon Lee?
Like half the guys that was even in that outside of Carmelo, and I say this only because I feel like you already won the big one. So it's like it's kind of like when you did all of that already and you was also the North American champion before, it's like, do you really need to like be involved like that? No. But like there's a couple of guys on there they definitely could use. And while I know Tyler Bate like just made it into the Iron qualifier, I wouldn't have minded him or, even Nathan Frasier or Axiom. I feel like there's so many people you really could have put in who has been like here every week doing stuff that I'm like, all right, and it will fit the style of Wesley in particular too, of how he kind of moves around the ring. That like if you want somebody still in that ballpark, there's a few people you could put there, but we'll see. Honestly, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure if Dragon wins it, he'll do well, and it'll be deserving in regards to he definitely was here for some time, but also it's just like, oh, the other guys at NXT.
You're like, what about my boys in NXT? Why we don't get no love? No, I agree with you. That's a great point, and I didn't even really kind of think about it. I did think it was strange that Dragon Lee. I was like, okay, like he was kind of been on SmackDown. He's kind of in the U.S. Championship tournament this Friday against Santos Escobar. He's feuding with Santos Escobar. Why is he coming back? All right. I was like, all right, cool. I guess this is a last minute change because of the Wesley injury, and they didn't feel like they had built up anyone else to take that spot. And Dragon Lee is getting somewhat of a push over on SmackDown. So I'm gonna say that Dragon Lee gets the win here. We give him a big moment, give him a big win on a premium live event. He gets the big moment with Rey Mysterio holding up the North American Championship. And then, see, this is how you do another great segue. I think the winner of this match on the pre-show will be the person that beats Dragon Lee for the North American Championship, because it was announced last night we were supposed to have a match of the rivalry reborn between Axiom and Nathan Frasier, who've had so many great matches, whether this year or last year on NXT television. They were going to have another great match in their friendly rivalry, but it was broken up by the participant in the women's Iron Survivor match. So now that match has been moved to the kickoff show, Axiom versus Nathan Frasier. Who do you have in this one, and what do you think about the match being moved from the kickoff show from last night's show?
I partially alluded to this last night on the NXT show with Shay. I was a little annoyed because I was looking forward to this match. I think Axiom is fantastic. I'm a fan of him. Nathan, I'm a fan, even though he was saying shenanigans, because he was, about Ilja Dragunov, and I'm like, let's calm that down, Nathan. Let's calm that down. But I'm a fan of both of them. I think they both are really good wrestlers. I'm always impressed when they're in matches. And so I was looking forward to the match and to kind of have it like removed, basically, because you guys wanted to have brawling. And I'm like, all right, I get it. But also, could we have brawled in the parking lot? Or like, could we have brawled? The parking lot in NXT is like known for the most drama. Like, we could have moved this to the parking lot at some capacity. We didn't need to have it during a match. And so I was a little annoyed by it. With that being said, I do think even with them being on the kickoff show, they're going to deliver. I think it's going to be a nice way to segue into the main event. And so I think it's going to be great. But I do think Axiom is taking it just because Nathan he's talking a little too spicy for me. And I'm like, you got to just knock him down, Axiom, and let him know. Like, no.
Yo, you was getting pretty spicy with Nathan. You was like telling him to have a seat on the post show yesterday. You was like, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to sit your ass down." Basically, that's what I heard. That's how I heard it. But what's your issues with Nathan Frasier's new attitude he's been showing as of late?
I just feel like he was agreeing with Baron Corbin. I'm like, ew, don't agree with him. But like, let's calm that down. You don't agree with Baron Corbin. Like that's a strike in my book. Like, clearly you need to reconsider. And so actually I'm gonna help you reconsider where your views are, because that's no. We don't agree with Baron Corbin. So that's the reason. It's just I'm like, you've been talking real crazy the last couple of weeks. Like, calm down. Like, you can't agree with him. Ew. So that's my reason. Otherwise, I like him. I didn't particularly like the last couple of weeks, and so actually, I'm just need to let him know real quick, you know.
So I'm gonna agree with you. I think that Axiom gets the win here, because I think that Axiom is gonna be the guy that beats Dragon Lee for the North American Championship, because that matchup that they had on SmackDown a couple of weeks back was kind of spectacular. It was only like less than 10 minutes. They can get more time on NXT television or even a premium live event over on NXT. So I think that's the move to make. I'm not sure if I got your prediction for Dragon Lee versus Dom. Who did you kind of land on that one?
I feel like some people think Dragon Lee. I don't really. I mean, if you're thinking, I can kind of see if you think he'll win it, so Axiom can take it. But I don't really see the reason for Dominic to lose it necessarily, and so I'm gonna go with Dominic.
Only reason I think that it's time that Dominic drops it is because I feel like we're going to the point of this title reign going stale. And it's not the difference maker it was a couple of months back. A couple of months back, you put Dom on NXT and they were popping 700, 800,000. Now they're back below 700,000. So maybe Dom is not the draw that he still was, or he was 3 months ago. So I think that it's time to move on, put him on the main roster, and continue his growth, which he's shown a lot of growth, and he's been benefited from this run on NXT.
I agree there. I definitely can see how it's a little bit stale, you know, and just Shay just want him to get back to Judgment Day business, as she said. So I know why
Over
she
there.
just wanted to lose just to get back to Judgment Day business, as she said.
Just go back over there. Just go with the Judgment Din. We got Senior Nerd in the chat. He says, I have doubts, Wesley is that legit hurt. I got this funny feeling Lee will be back a lot sooner than they say he will be. I mean, WWE tends to always embellish the injury times, but sometimes they don't. Or they say say it's like 8 to 12 months, and it really is 8 to 12 months, or sometimes it's even longer. Like someone like Randy Orton, when he first went out, they said it was like 8 to 10 months, 8 to 12 months, and he was out for 18 months. So I think that a back injury is kind of unpredictable, especially with what they're doing in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, just because wrestling injuries, I don't wrestle, and so I can't really say like how that is, but I feel like a back injury is the one injury you don't really play around with. So we'll see.
We got the Wrestling Lowdown Show, who says, hello there, my two favorite wrestling podcasters together. Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs up for that. Drop the thumbs up if you haven't already. We got Chase in the chat who says he's going with Frasier is his prediction. He also says if Lee loses, I don't understand putting him in this matchup. Should have just used Gargano. Yeah, if this person is going to lose, I think that you should have used someone that was in that four-way. Whether it's Cameron Grimes, whether it's Johnny Gargano, whichever one of those guys you want to pick, it makes more sense to put one of them in to give Dom one of a former North American champion for him to beat instead of Dragon Lee, who's getting somewhat of a push on SmackDown. It doesn't make any sense unless he's winning. But I mean, WWE does things that don't make sense sometimes, so wouldn't put it past them. We got the Wrestling Lowdown Show who says Dragon Lee should win, so he's also going with Dragon Lee in that one. Keep coming with those predictions in the live chat because we're going to talk about the match that the show is all about, Deadline, the Iron Survivor Challenge, which if you don't know the rules, here they are. It is a 25-minute time limit with 5 superstars competing to become number 1 contender. 2 superstars start the match. Every 5 minutes thereafter, a new superstar will enter until all competitors are in the ring. Falls can be won at any time via pinfall, submission, or disqualification. When a superstar scores a fall, they will earn 1 point. When a superstar loses a fall, that superstar is forced out of the ring and into a penalty box for 90 seconds before they can re-enter the match. The superstar who has scored the most falls when the clock hits 25 minutes will be named the Iron Survivor and become the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship or NXT Women's Championship. So we'll start with the Women's Iron Survivor. It's going to be former champion Tiffany Stratton, Lash legend of the Metaphor. You got Blair Davenport, you got Kalani Jordan, and you got Fallon Henley, who earned her opportunity in the Last Chance Fatal 4-Way, pinning Thea Hale. That also involved Roxanne Perez and Kiana James. They had a huge brawl on last night's show, and they were trying to just tell the reason why they were going to win the Iron Survivor Challenge. Who do you have in this one, Kat?
For me, I'm going with Kalani. I know people like Tiffany, and I'm a little iffy on her. Not that she doesn't have. I think she has a fantastic moonsault. I do think there are things that I'm like, I don't know, guys, but I don't think she needs to necessarily win this. I feel like she was already champion. She's already got to wrestle with Becky. She's gotten to do things pretty quickly that she doesn't necessarily need this to win. I feel like she can get back to the title without this. So I don't think she needs to win it. And I can kind of make a debate for Blair because, I think Blair's also fantastic. And they need to do something with her in regards to she's kind of been floating about different little feuds since she's been back. But, maybe this would be the jump she needs to really do something as far as creatively. But Kalani was who I wanted to win the breakout tournament, and I was a little annoyed that she didn't win because I was just like, Lola's cool, and I really I see the look, I see why, but I feel like she is not. I feel like Kalani's a little bit more polished in the ring than Lola is, and so I felt like she should have won it. And so because of that, I'm gonna go with Kalani. This is semi-biasedly. It's just I felt she should have won the breakout tournament, and so because she didn't, I'm like, what other reason could she like now feel this as well? Why would you guys do this to me? Okay, so I like that's not. I mean, I'm sure it's not to me personally, but to me, like, girl needs to win this because she didn't win the breakout tournament, and so I think it's gonna be a really good match, and I think they'll probably be like, ooh, it could be close, but I'm gonna go with Kalani.
That's a good call. She's kind of like a dark horse in the build to this as well. I think that she's just too she's a little green herself, and she's a little young in the game. She's still a rookie. So I think that she has time. I think this is a good spotlight and showcase for her. Blair Davenport, I think that she is kind of one of the contenders to beat Lyra Valkyria and win the NXT Women's Championship. However, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So I don't see her winning. There's Lash Legend. I don't think Lash Legend can do anything in this match that's going to be more impressive or spectacular than her slamming Otis on last night's show. So I think that she's already had her spotlight moment this week. So she's out there running. Tiffany Stratton, I 100% agree with you. She's won the championship. She doesn't need to win this matchup at all. She can basically just ask for another title shot, and she'll be back in the title picture. And she owns a victory over Lyra Valkyria anyway, so that's already her title match right there. It's Fallon Henley. That's my pick. You ride the momentum of her winning this last chance fatal 4-way, and also NXT loves to lay hints. And they gave us a hint before her first qualifying matchup where she had that backstage promo with Lyra Valkyria, and she said she's coming for the NXT Women's Championship. And I don't think they did that just off a coincidence. And her getting the big win on this show, getting the last line in the whole promo segment, the yeehaw bitch, and starting the whole brawl. I think that this is leading to Fallon Henley getting the big win of her career, of her run so far in NXT. I think she wins this one.
Okay, I can see it. I can see it.
She's like, I'm standing 10 toes down on Kalani.
Telling me to get him under last year, so I'm just like, I guess, but I can actually see how that definitely can be somebody who you're like, all right, that makes sense, because they definitely did have her be the last one, and I usually am good with that kind. Like, okay, I'm seeing, so I can see it. I definitely can see it.
I mean, don't get me started on her being a cock block for Brooke Jensen.
Definitely was.
And I mean, she was out here cock blocking. She was playing the role of Joey while she was getting in the middle of Dawson and Jen. However you want it, whatever teen drama, that's what that was with Brooke Jensen. And they didn't even give us the payoff of Brooke Jensen and Fallon Henley actually being in a relationship. Because that's what it was. That's the obvious thing. She kept being a cock block, kept acting like she had feelings for him that didn't want to say it, and he had and then they didn't even deliver on what we were
absolutely.
I'm sorry, you got me going when you said Fallon Henley annoyed you, and I was like, that annoyed me that we never got the finish of the teen drama.
Yes, I agree, because she definitely was blocking. Like, ma'am, mind yours. She was doing too much. She was annoying me like every week during that. I'm like, why are you complaining every week? Like, either say what you need to say it with your chest, or go away. You gotta pick one. Can't be in the middle here. Can't be in the middle.
You gotta stand 10 toes down, like Kat is with Kalani Jordan, yo. Like, come on, Fallon, get it together. We got Chase saying Blair Davenport. We got Eric Isaac who says Lash is a legend, slamming on Otis. Yeah, I've seen people who said, I think it was Brian Alvarez who said that they should replace Lash Legend slamming Otis. They should replace Hogan slamming Andre with Lash Legend slamming Otis. I'm down for that. I think that's ironic of Hulk Hogan being replaced by a black woman. I think that would be great. I think that'd be great. Imagine the tape when Hogan finds that out. Queen Bonet saying, I think Kalani wins, but for some reason I could also shockingly see Fallon. So we got some similar picks, got a couple of, that seems like the most kind of unpredictable match on the show. But we also got more matches, got some matches that are not Iron Survivor, like this one that doesn't even have a graphic yet because it was made last minute by, I guess, assistant general manager Ava Rain. I mean, I also wanted to ask you about that because you watch NXT more than me. When did Ava Rain become assistant to the general manager? I don't know. But this match next, made by her, Carmelo Hayes going one-on-one with Lexis King. These two men have been beefing ever since it was revealed that Lexis King was the one responsible for Trick Williams' attack. Then we got footage by NXT Anonymous on last night's show that showed Trick and Mello having a meeting around the same time that Trick walked out that door and went into and was attacked by Lexis King. And we see that after Trick left the room, Mello texts somebody. And at that same time on the video camera, that is when Lexis King received the text message as well. So collusion? Is it? Are they in cahoots? What is this match gonna be? What do you think about this whole storyline involving Mello, Trick, and Lexis King?
I feel like there's a lot of parts in this. Like, as I've said previously, even with NXT or just doing stuff with Shay, after watching The Dark Side of the Ring, I truly do want Brian Tillman Jr., aka Lexis King. I want him to thrive. I want him to be able to do something and just be happy. And I felt so sad after watching that for him. With that being said, he is definitely starting, okay? Because why are you even involved in any of this? I love his entrance. And if somebody can make this happen for me to slide somewhere on a throne, I'll be very happy. I don't know where, somebody's party, whatever, just let me slide on in, and then I can be gone in like 10 minutes, and it's fine. I just want to have that entrance. But
you need it in the house so you could go room to room, That would be very convenient if you have kids. Like, I have kids, so that'd be very convenient if I had a throne.
I mean, to be fair, yes. If I want to be real lazy, I'm like, let me just get in the chair, slide on to the back. With that being said, I do think Lexus is starting. I think he should be minding his business. But I feel like Carmelo, it's too easy. It's too easy to say it's Carmelo. Sometimes the easy answer is the answer. If you're a horror movie fan like I am, you would know a lot of times they kind of put it out there, especially with slasher movies, I feel like Scream. Right there in your face, it was obvious who it was from the very beginning. And so sometimes that is obvious, but I feel like, of course it seems like it'll be Carmelo, because you're his friend, and then you kind of lost everything to an extent, and he's now moving on up, and he's not longer being just your hype guy. And so the easy answer, Carmelo's doing it. However, after watching that clip, and I watched it several times to make sure, I didn't even feel like he was texting anything. Like, I was looking at his hands, and I'm like, what is this? Because I text pretty fast. And I feel like most people with any smartphone, you have the keyboard that kind of predict your words for you anyway, and so it makes texting a lot easier. But I felt like he was just maybe quickly looking at checking notifications or scrolling.
It looked like he put in the code to open his phone, and that's it.
And so I'm like, who text? Like, if you can do texting this quick and get that sent and just have Lexus randomly waiting there in those couple of seconds, then find me the time turner you was using, as any Harry Potter fans. What time turner were you using that you can make that possible in that very short amount of time? I was like, how? And you're in the locker room, so we're gonna if anybody's been a wrestling show, service ain't always great in wrestling arenas. So your text was so good that not only did it go in seconds, but Lexus just having time let me get in my spot to beat up. I don't know. I feel like that's too convenient. I feel like Lexus is just playing around with the fact that there was already some mistrust between the two of them. After that, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Carmelo did it after all, because it's just who was he texting this quickly? Why are we playing games, guys? And so I don't know. I do feel like, though, it's very possible Carmelo will lose this. I love Carmelo. That is my guy. But he's also in a really weird space. I feel like he's kind of trying to figure out where he stands now in NXT. He was NXT North American champion, and then with fantastic matches with Ilja Dragunov, but you are no longer NXT champion. And so what else do you go from here? How do you figure out who you are without those titles? And so I can see Lexus beating him off that alone, that he's not even in his best head. He's not in the game like he normally is. Mello, don't miss. Mello has been missing, unfortunately, quite a few in the last couple of weeks. And so I'm like, I don't know, man. He might not win this as much as I love him. I think Lexus is going to win this off the fact that it's a lot of stuff happening with him storyline wise, that it's he's not going to be on his A game, or there's too much emotion involved. I don't think he's going to do as well as he's normally done in previous matches. And so I'm going to take Lexus off that alone.
Yeah, and it's also they still have the matchup of Lexis King versus Trick Williams that they have to do since it was Lexis that did the attack, and they can do like a three-way with those guys if they want to as well. So yeah, I think that you're right that Lexis King has to get this win. He needs the big credibility win, and what bigger credibility win that he can get than beating a former NXT champion, to former North American champion in Carmelo Hayes. That's one of the biggest stars on NXT. That's how you make him look good during this run. And we got a question here from Frantic World who says, has Brian Pillman Jr. run in NXT been good so far? Now, okay, maybe I'll rant again. I'll just answer this and say, before Kat answer this, the first time they did that segment where they had Trick Williams and Carmelo after Trick screwed over Mello by coming out and distracted him during the Ilya third matchup. And they did that whole segment trying to figure out if Mello was attacking him. And Lexis King's music hit, I literally came on here and I said all the charisma was sucked out of the room. It felt like the whole segment just turned bad as soon as he came out, and the whole ending was awkward. They tried to save it with the hug and the mellow look at the end, but it was just so bad. I will say the weeks after, they have done better, and they've learned that these are probably not the guys we do a live in-ring promo with. And I think that they've been better off telling their story in backstage segment and matches. So I will say it's averaged out so far, his run, to all right.
I don't know, because I feel like I said, I loved his entrance. Like, that was a really memorable entrance for me. With that being said, I don't really know what they're doing with him just yet. Because him being involved with this Carmelo Trick thing, I'm so confused. Like, why do you feel like, I know what I'm gonna do? Let me mess with like, what is the mindset behind wanting to randomly, and why I know sometimes don't make sense of why people do what they do. Hence the whole Rikishi thing, doing it for The Rock, if anybody remember that. Like, that logically, I'm like, what? Like, how is this the option? It's like, I'm helping my cousin, I'm gonna do this extra stuff. Like, there are so many ways to help your cousin. That was so over the top helping.
You did not have to commit vehicular manslaughter, sir.
So, I mean, I don't know what the reasoning is for going after Carmelo and Trick to kind of start with them. But I don't, like I said, for the match purposes, you can't have from time to finally have an actual, like, PLE match and lose. And so I feel like otherwise it takes all the momentum of him having his big nets going forward, or making a big deal that he was being signed in the first place to have him lose. And so I feel like hopefully, as I do believe he's going to win, they can do more with the character outside of him just being a guy who's just starting and causing drama. Because I'm like, all right, Mean Girls, like, why are we doing this? Like, what is the reason? I don't feel like he's just doing drama for no reason. But I don't have a real opinion yet, because I felt like he hasn't really done much. So I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, it's like basically those vignettes and promos, they had like an aura to them, and like that aura doesn't seem to be there anymore. And also the whole thing with the vignettes where I am not my dad. And basically all they've done is make him his dad's character. That's what his dad played in 1996 when he came to WWE. He was the instigator. He was stirring the pot. He was doing like talk show segments and stirring the pot with Austin and Bret Hart. Like, yeah, that he's doing his dad's gimmick. Oh, okay. He's the loose cannon, Lexis King, basically. Outside of that matchup, we got another women's matchup on the card, Kat. This is going to be a steel cage matchup announced last night on the show. Roxan Perez versus Kiana James. These two women have been feuding since all the way back earlier this fall in September. They had the big Devil's Playground matchup at Halloween Havoc, but the animosity has continued, with Kiana James costing Roxan Perez her Iron Survivor qualifying matchup against Lash Legend, and then Roxanne returning the favor when Keilani Jordan defeated Kiana James. They've been brawling backstage, brawling throughout that four-way last night, going through the announce table, and then when they were being checked out in the trainer's room, they brawled again until assistant to Shawn Michaels, Ava Raine. Once again, I'm going to ask you, when did Ava Raine become assistant general manager? Announced that it's going to be a steel cage match at Deadline. What do you think about the build? Who do you think wins? What do you think about Ava Raine?
So if Ava, I feel like they have to do something with her. She was part of, her group with Joe Gacy, and then Joe Gacy, the other guys are gone, and he's just going. I don't know what's happening with him, but he's clearly on a wherever's happening mentally, he's clearly just talking nonsense because I feel like it's nonsense. And so they got to do something with her. And so I'm not sure when she became general manager. I was like, oh, all right, I guess. Like, I didn't know you can just pick a new move.
It was like she's a good talker, so we're gonna make her assistant general manager of the women's division.
If it keeps her in people's minds, and if it allows her, time to hopefully, I don't know if they're doing more training with her because we only saw her wrestle, I think, twice, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe if it allows her more time to continue doing that without getting hurt, because I know she's been hurt a couple of times. And if it gives her more, keep her in the audience's mind that she's there, then I'm okay with it. I'm cool with it. I think they should have said something before that, like, oh, surprise. But here we are. In regards to the match, I like that Kiana has gotten better since I first saw her. I think she's definitely gotten better in the ring. But I feel like with regard to, I'm going to go with Roxanne. I know Roxanne did win the Devil's Playground match, but I feel like, a steel cage match, I don't feel like, I feel like knowing where Roxanne came from, Ring of Honor, and then kind of coming in, and then you had her doing like the ode to Booker T and Stone Cold with the beating up Blair and the store, and then even dealing with the fact that, Kiana has a brick, like, if people with road rage carry bricks in their car, well, clearly Kiana's carrying bricks in her bag, which is a whole level of being prepared. And even with that being said, and while Kiana may have to resort to stuff like that, steel cages, I don't know. I feel like Roxanne may have a little bit of an upper hand in that regard, not because she's had a steel cage match, just because she's done more that would fit more of a tougher type of situation for that kind of match. And so I'm going to take Roxanne. I do think Kiana's definitely going to do a lot of shenanigans. I definitely think it'll be very close, honestly. But, because I did see the comment about challenging Lyra. Lyra is going to beat her. And I feel like realistically, Kiana has gotten better, but Lyra will beat her. And that would just be a waste of a situation. I don't even think this match is necessarily for a title. It's mostly just because I have a feud. And so I just feel like with regard, even though Roxanne did win the last match, I do think she's going to take it, because I will be very surprised if Kiana does a whole 180 and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe you are winning this match. I feel like she'll be I think it'll be very close, but I do think Roxanne will pull off the win. Just to kind of, and I think, sometimes they do 3 or 4 matches for feuds, and if anything, Kiana might win the next one or something, but I just don't see her even with the brick in her bag, I do not see her winning a steel cage match. It's just, of the two, Roxanne is definitely the better wrestler of the two. And I'm just using past of what I've seen Roxanne do and handle, that I'm like, you should be able to handle a steel cage match. You took on, Miko Saramura. I feel like that's one of the top women. This should be light work to you. When Kiana's the opponent, this shouldn't be that complicated. I feel like Roxanne is taking it, but I do think it won't end. I feel like they'll probably want more match after this, if anything, to kind of officially end the feud. But I just don't see Kiana winning it. But I think she's going to do well.
I think that it's going to be a great showcase for Kiana, probably the biggest match that she's been in since coming to NXT. And I'm a fan of Kiana. Like I said, I was a fan of the teen drama storyline with her being the sex vixen trying to seduce the virgin Brooks Jensen. She was trying to pop his cherry. It was great stuff. It was compelling television. I enjoyed it. And I've been a fan of Kiana since then, and I've enjoyed this little feud. And I feel like Roxanne Perez is like the anti Shawn Michaels booking, because how Shawn Michaels books these former champions, man, he beats them like a freaking drum after they lose a title. Like Wesley lost to freaking Mallow, and then Ilya, and then Dom, and then this person before he had to take a break to go home and finally win a matchup. Braun Breaker has been losing every freaking big match this year. He's 0-3 versus Carmelo, and he lost his last Premium Live event matchup to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin. And then he just asked for a World Heavyweight Championship matchup so he could lose to Seth Rollins too. So like he's lost every big matchup. But Roxanne, on the other hand, she's like won every freaking feud she's been in for the past 18 months. Cora Jade, Mandy Rhodes, Toxic Attraction, Blair Davenport. And now it's going to be Kiana James going to be added to that list. I agree. I think Roxanne Perez wins, but yeah, I do give them credit for keeping her strong after losing the title. I just hope that Shawn Michaels realized you should probably do it for a couple of these other former champions so Triple H doesn't have to start from scratch when they get called up to the main roster. Because we saw how that happened with Indy Hartwell. Just saying. Cordine saying, what did you think of Roxanne's NXT Women's title run? I thought it was going well until they decided to do some weird anxiety storyline.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that at all. That's a whole thing. I'm like, how? And to be fair, I'm somebody with anxiety, and so I get it. But I'm like, to that level, then to have her like refight to get back in there and have to reprove herself to lose. I was so irritated by that. I was like, now, Shawn, this is when I kind of wanted to call him up. Like, I don't have his number, but I wanted to. Because I'm like, listen here, Michael.
This is why I call him Mr. Hickenbottom. We need to have a discussion.
Government name. That's James government now. Because, like, what are we doing? what are we doing here, Michael? So, yeah, I don't really know. But, I mean, otherwise, it was decent. It wasn't bad, but I didn't understand how that was, like, that was how it kind of ended, and that was unfortunate. I felt like she deserved better than that. But, she's been in, storyline since, this interesting one, and doing little fun things. And so, good for her. I hope, not that she doesn't really need to win the title again right away, but, like, that they don't keep necessarily putting her in, like, let's not do that again. If we're going to do and just let's not have it where it's, like, a weird mental health issue, and then it's like, oh, no, you're right back into getting, now you're, like, doing all types of stuff. The mental health kind of took a back seat, so I was a little confused by that. But otherwise, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, like now you're doing hardcore matches. It's like, okay. And you were doing hardcore matches before the anxiety. So it was like, what are we okay. But we got the big title matchup on this show. You mentioned it earlier. Ilja Dragunov defending the NXT Championship against Baron Corbin in a clash of culture. As Baron Corbin lives the high life. He lives in luxury after being an NFL player and a WWE superstar over the last 8 years. Well, Ilja Dragunov has had to leave his family, leave his son to come here to America to get the greatness and become the NXT champion. And all his sacrifices is for his son and his family, while Baron Corbin laughs at his sacrifices and said that he should be living the life that Corbin is living, and that the NXT champion should be living the life that Corbin is living. So that's why Corbin is going to beat Ilja. But Ilja has gone crazy, and he even hugged Corbin and let him know that the only one that can unleash the dragon is the dragon himself. So what do you think about the build up to this matchup? Who do you think wins this Saturday?
I feel like that's very clear for me. I am taking Ilja Dragunov. That is my guy. It is always time for a goatee and turtleneck, and he always delivers. And I'm like, Baron, because nobody even actually beat in NXT. He did all that extra going to the woods some months ago, like he was gonna do something. And what did he do? Nothing. So he did all this lone wolf stuff. He brought the song back and everything. Went to the woods. Whatever you did in the woods, kumbaya, dancing with wolves. I don't know, but whatever you did in the woods did nothing. And so you can talk all this. Like, you can talk all this nonsense you would talk about, Ilja Dragunov not being there for his, don't even mention people's kids. See, that's another thing, because I'm like, I'm a mom, don't mention kids. So, like, don't do that. I'm like, because now I gotta really beat you up. So, on principle, I'm like, he's gonna have to beat him up, because, like, you don't talk about people's kids. You don't mention kids. That's a button for me, so I totally get that. I'm gonna beat you up on principle. Take the title out of it. Like, I'm gonna beat you up extra hard, because you mentioned my kid. So I just feel like, nobody's asking for Baron to be a champion. I mean, I hope not. Like, why? He bores me, truly bores me. And so I'm taking Ilja Dragunov, absolutely. I think the build-up was fine. I do think they did it well. I think both of them did well in that regard. I think this is a fantastic build-up. But Ilja Dragunov is leaving as a champion. Nobody's asking for Baron Corbin. Nobody's like, ooh, I can't wait to see him as champion. And if you are, I'm going to have to question why. What is the reason? Who do we need to talk to discuss why this is who you would want as champion? It is goatee time all the time. And so I like that he's like not even getting upset, because he was before. I felt like every week he was upset about something. Like he's all crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're all right. Take a stress ball or something.
He ain't with his woman. He ain't with his woman. He don't got that release and stuff. Like,
so I mean, I don't know, but I'm glad he wasn't being angry about it, you know. And he was looking nice leading up to this. I'm like, all right, look at you looking all sharp and stuff. All right, my God, you know, I'm feeling it. So yeah, I'm taking Ilja Dragunov. Baron Corbin, please. Nobody's asking for this. Nobody wants Baron. At least I don't. You know, and I feel like all my friends.
You will not hear me disagree with you at all. I am definitely going with Ilja Dragunov in this one. I am sorry. This is another conversation with Mr. Hickenbottom. Mr. Hickenbottom, you need to have a seat right now. And if you're listening, why did you think it was a good idea to put Baron Corbin in an NXT Championship matchup on a premium live event after he was in one of the worst matches of 2023, an abomination to professional wrestling against Gable Steveson at Great American Bash that killed his career? It killed an Olympian's career. That match was so bad. We don't even talk about Gable Steveson. It was like he didn't even exist after that match. That match was so bad. People were like, "Yo, Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight, that Mountain Dew bitch back match, not so bad when you think about it." like that's how bad that match, Gable Steveson versus Baron Corbin. And you said, you know what? Let's put him in a match with Ilja Dragunov. What? There's like so many people that can have great matches with Ilja Dragunov on this show, and I'm just have no interest. Like, regardless of this build, yeah, I think they've done the build fine, and they've told a very logical and coherent story. I have no interest in it, like, because it's Baron Corbin. That's what it comes down to.
I have to agree with you there.
we need milk cartons with Gable Stevenson's face on it. We have not seen that man since he had a debut match. Like, oh yo, I've seen debut matches. I've said this before in here. I will say it again because I don't think Kat's heard me say it. But I've seen debut matches where the guy was green. I've seen debut matches where the guy was versing the wrong guy to be across from the ring from. I've seen debut matches where the fans turn on them. And I've seen debut matches where the finish was just shit. I never seen a debut match that had all four. All four. Because people tend to forget. That match ended in a double countout. It's not even like he lost. It ended in a double countout, meaning that they had intention of continuing the feud. And we have not seen this man in 5 months.
That is true.
I'm sorry, Kat.
No, you're fine. You're right. I didn't understand that double count out, but I never thought he should have been in a match either. I was like, why of all the people to have him have a match with Baron Corbin? This is who you decide. You could have given us the Miz if that was the case. You could have. I would have been entertained by that. I didn't understand. I don't know, but I'm like, I mean, I guess if this will be getting Baron is just on my TV screen for some strange reason every time. Here we are.
We got him on NXT pretty much this whole entire year, but not in the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men, which I think that this is a very interesting collection of talent. This isn't the collection of talent that I would have, when you said Iron Survivor 25-minute matchup, this wouldn't be the selection that I would have picked. I would have picked some of these guys, but not the collection that we got. But it's very interesting as we're going to get Dijak versus Trick Williams versus Braun Breaker versus Josh Briggs versus Tyler Bate, who won the Fatal 4-Way Last Chance matchup last night, and he stood tall at the end of the night with the huge brawl between everyone to end the show. who do you think is going to win this one? And do you think this winner will go on to beat Ilja Dragunov?
I feel like I'm stuck between Tyler Bate and Trick Williams. Dijak, not a fan. As I kind of said yesterday, I don't trust anybody who wears sunglasses inside. I just don't. You're wearing sunglasses in the dark room. Why? I don't trust that. I believe he's not the one who went to the woods, and I don't know what happens in the woods, but apparently he went there and it didn't help. And so I don't like Dijak. I'm not, and while I do like Jensen and he's cool, I don't really see him winning this. I don't. I can see Trick Williams because I felt like they've been really trying to build him going forward. And what better way to truly kind of remove him away from Carmelo, if this is where we're going, than to win this? I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that. With that being said, Tyler Bate, who I am a fan of, you did win the last match. You also did stand tall at the end. And so, I mean, part of me, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I want to say Trick Williams off if it makes the most sense. I feel like the fans are going to be behind it. I feel like, NXT is very fickle. The audience is so fickle sometimes, and they easily change their mind. But I feel like as of right now, they are really behind Trick Williams. I can definitely see him winning it. But I can kind of see Tyler Bate too, just to see if they can give him something, to do. Like, I'm like, okay, we can see this happening, and so I feel split. But I'm gonna, I think Tyler Bate's gonna make it close, but I'm gonna just go with Trick off of it makes sense. I feel like it makes the most sense. But I'll be fine if Tyler Bate wins it because I do like him, and I can definitely see how, especially with him being the one on top, and he's the smaller one of the group. He is definitely the smaller dude of the group, and yay for the smaller dudes. I was a Jeff Hardy fan, Shawn Michaels fan, and they were smaller than some of their counterparts. And so I can see Trick, or Tyler Bate. That I don't Dijak. Why? Why? This is another situation. If he comes out winning this, I'm gonna have to find Shawn Michaels' number somehow, or send him a smoke signal, or he's gonna hear from me.
Sit down, Michael. Sit down. Have a seat.
I'm gonna tell you. You know what? You need no, because clearly you need some help in this. What do you need me to do to fix this? Because no, Dijak, absolutely not. But I feel like Trick, but I'm okay with Tyler Bate winning it as well.
That is fair. I just don't think Shawn Michaels likes Tyler Bate. I'm sorry. This kid came into this company at 19. This man is now 25, and he's still in NXT? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are you kidding me? This kid was ready at 19 to be on Raw and SmackDown. Why has he been in NXT for longer than some law students are in college? What are we doing? It's a very strange move, so I have no faith in Tyler Bate winning this, unfortunately, even though I'm a big Tyler Bate fan, and I've actually talked to Tyler Bate before. He's a good brother as well. Dijak, I can see what Chase is saying here. It does seem like HBK likes Dijak a lot. So I could see this being the big win that he's never gotten. Because I called for Dijak to win the North American title back at Vengeance Day against Wesley. I thought he was going to win back then. I thought he was going to get a big push then. And I could see them giving him the big win here where they don't have to put a title on him, but it's still a big win. And he will be a big challenger for Ilja Dragunov. And we've seen Ilya versus Dijak. That last man standing match is still one of the best NXT matches we saw in 2023. So I would not mind that. I think that he should be considered like the dark horse to win this one. Braun Breaker doesn't need it. I could also see them finally say, hey, let's give him a win. But like I said, no, doesn't seem like that's their move. He loses every big matchup this year. So that leaves Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs, yeah, I just think he's here to get a showcase. It's just a showcase, guys. I think we're all on the same page of Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick. When you heard the reaction for every other person in that matchup, and then Trick Williams came out, it was like, these guys, they are politely cheering for, politely booing for. This guy, they actually care about. And I think we're going to see that with this crowd in Bridgeport Trick Williams wins, and then it's a perfect thing to happen in this whole Trick and Mello story, because now Trick is on his way to winning the NXT Championship that he screwed Carmelo out of in his rematch. And now you can have it be Lexus and Carmelo start brawling out, and that distracts Trick during his title match, and that's how he loses. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go from here. So I think that it will put a big spotlight on this story, which is the best story going on in NXT. So Trick wins. And that is all the matches for NXT Deadline this Saturday. I think it's going to be a good show. I'm actually more excited after talking about it with Kat and all of you in the chat. We appreciate y'all. Last call for super chat donations or final comments. If you have any final prediction on Deadline, let us know. Any final thoughts from you, Kat? And of course, thank you so much for joining me here, and let the people know where they can follow you on social media and all the great content you're doing. Body Slam, that your own channel, everything else. Let the people know. Give you the spotlight. The floor is yours.
You can find me on social media in Cat We Trust, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, E3, because I refuse to call Twitter X. Just follow my YouTube channel. I have a whole bunch of stuff on there, reviews, anime, horror movies, interviews with wrestlers and people in the wrestling industry. You catch me later today. I will be on SWC wrestling with Shay, actually talking NXT Deadline one more time. So catch that at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow I will be interviewing Kiki for her AEW Awards, and that will be happening at 7:30 Eastern on my channel, so check that out. And normally Mondays, I do the WoW with Stephanie Hardy, if you know who she is, and we're doing that today at 7. Busy day today. And so just catch me on my social media, and again, appreciate you guys as always.
Thank you so much. Follow Kat. She's doing so much great stuff. You heard that lineup. That's almost that's busier than my schedule. So check her out. She's busy doing some busy stuff and doing some great content. So go over and support her. Stephen Chambers, we mentioned the steel cage match and Axiom versus Frasier. You got to rewind back, brother. You maybe jumped in too late. But thank you to Chase in the chat who says great show, SP3 and Katrina. And thank you so much to everyone who is joining us. Thank you to Kat. And of course, enjoy NXT Deadline this Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow with AE Ramble, reviewing tonight's AEW Dynamite. In the meantime, check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like Rated Raw review from yesterday with me and Romeo, breaking down this week's WWE Raw. Check out the True Hill Heat flagship podcast from this past Saturday. Check out Collision Discourse from this past Monday, reviewing AEW Collision. And check out the ladies over at Servant Face and Heels, talking the latest in women's wrestling. But for Kat, for all of you, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NXT Deadline 2023 preview. We are signing off until next time.